Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Snake Beater, back with a brand new video. Today, guys, I'm going to be going through every single Apex Legends setting for controller, and I'm going to be explaining what the setting is and what setting I recommend you run. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button, comment down below, and please subscribe your notifications on. That way you never miss an upload. We are trying to hit 1K subs by the end of the year. So if you do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing, because it really does help me and it keeps boosting up the channel and keeps me motivated. But apart from that, let's jump straight into the video. So as I said, I'm going to be explaining every single setting, giving you an explanation of what the setting does before telling you what recommended setting I think you should use. A lot of people do not explain what the setting does. They'll just say to you, turn this on, turn that off, whatnot. At the end of the day, everyone has different preferences, so it's not a case of you should just be listening to what I'm recommending. It's just a case of if you listen to what I say and you think, actually no, I prefer having it this way around, completely fine. But the idea is today I want to explain stuff, and if there is something you want to change or you feel like you want to go with what I recommend, that is completely fine. So let's jump into it. So first of all, we got interact prompt style. So interact prompt style, it's very simple. It brings up, if you don't have it on compat, have it default, it brings up the little explanation about what the armor does. So if you're new to the game, definitely keep this on, because you see it gives you that explanation exactly what everything does. But if you are not, get it on compat. I find it's easier to loot, just makes it a lot easier. You don't have that big sign in the way. Next up, button hints. If you have that on, if you play a lot of different games, you might want to keep this on. Basically bottom hand right, if you see, it tells me my ultimate buttons, it tells me my ability buttons, and it tells me how to swap weapons. If you do prefer having that on, keep it on. I always have it off because I can remember my controller settings, but if you play a lot of different games, it might be easier to keep it off. Crosshair damage feedback, I've recently turned this off because I realized if you keep this on, when you are shooting at something, you get that little crosshair basically pop up. Now that's brilliant and all, because it shows you, yes, I've hit my damage, I've hit the player, but it does sometimes affect your visibility. So I have turned it off now. So basically it always just, when I hit shots, it's not a case of being a problem, it's there. Okay, so next up, we've got damage numbers. Okay, so a case of, if you have it on off, it does actually give you a very good explanation on the right hand side. So if you have it off, you get no overhead numbers. If you have it on stacking, you get it shows a combined number of all recent damage. If you got it on floating, you get show one number for each damage event. And if you got both, it shows a combined number for all the damage and floating numbers for each event. Now, I honestly prefer having it on stacking. It just means I don't have to do the maths. As you see there, 98 damage. Makes it easier to do the callouts and whatnot. You can have this off if you want, but you're not going to know how much damage you've done to a player. That way, you're never going to be able to tell your teammate how much damage you have just done to someone. Ping optimicity. Now, this one, I highly recommend you have it on faded. If you have it on default, it basically means it's a lot harder to see through. Now, if, for example, your teammate is sniping and they ping someone, then you look down your scope, you will not be able to see through the ping. Now, if you have it on faded, you'll be able to see through the ping a lot more because it goes transparent. Okay, so basically keep that faded. Next, you got obituaries. I would have this on. If you take this off, basically, you know, when you're in a battle and whatnot, top right hand corner, you see who's gone down, who's died and whatnot. If you have this off, you will not get that. Now, definitely keep it on, because if you do turn it off, then you're not going to know, for example, in the final 3 squads, you're not going to know who is gone down and whatnot. You'll hear shots, but you will not know if someone's gone down. So definitely keep this on. Mini-map rotations. Now, this was down to preference. I have it on. Basically means when I'm in a game with my mini-map, if I'm turning to the right, the mini-map rotates with me. If you prefer it, some people actually do have this off. It's completely down to preference. It will not make you a better player by having it off or on. So, yeah, down to whatever you think's best. Weapon auto cycle on empty. Now, this I have on. Very simple. It basically means if I was to run out of light ammo right now, say I was shooting along and I ran completely out of light ammo, then it would switch to my secondary. Obviously that's light as well, but for example, if I ran all the way through the R301 bullets right now, it would automatically switch to my P2020. If you do not have it off, it will not auto change. It definitely worth having it on, because there's a few times where I've not realized I'm out of ammo and I've tried to shoot someone and then it swapped my gun automatically for me and it has saved my life. So definitely have that on. Auto sprint mode. Now, a lot of people do keep this on to try and save their controllers. Definitely down to preference again. I prefer having it on, but you can just say I have it off, sorry, but you can definitely keep it on. It's all down to preference. If you want to try and keep your stick, your joysticks like healthier, definitely keep it on. Sorry. It's just a case of when I sprint, I have to keep it held down. If you had it on, then it's a case of, yeah, you would just keep running and you could basically take your left hand off your controller and not have to worry about it. Next up, we've got double tap to sprint. You could do this if you, once again, personal preference. I have it off because once again, I like to be in control. Incoming damage feedback. So for this one, it's the type of arrow to display when you're taking damage. So for example, if someone wants to shoot me from the right hand side, I have it coming up on 3D. Now, it's completely down to preference again. As you can see on the right hand side here again, if you've got it on 2D, you get a circular 2 decimal indicator. If you go for 3D, you get the 3 decimal arrow indicator. And then, yeah, if you go for both, then it shows both. But honestly, just have it on 3D. It does make it so much easier. Taking damage closes the death box menu. Now, definitely have this off. Please, for the love of God, have this off. If you want to do armor swaps and whatnot, you will never be able to do this if you have it on. It basically kicks you out of the death box, okay? Takes you out of it as you're about to do it. I never realized this was a setting in my early days, and I never had it off. And oh my God, I wanted to throw my controller so many times out the window because I was getting so frustrated about the fact that every time I went to loot something, I'd end up getting shot as I was going for an armor swap. So make sure you have this off, or you will get booted out of their death box at the worst time. Hop up, pop up. It basically gives you a little hint when you put something on. So if I quickly show you, so for example, if we were to put the anvil on, so let's put that on. We put the anvil on. You can see top right, bottom right, I should say. It gives you the basically explanation of what it does. If you obviously know what it does, you don't need this on. You just turn it off, so it's not really an issue. That is down to preference. Once again, if you're new to the game or you're getting used to things, better off keeping it on. Streamer mode, I don't really need to explain this, but I will anyway. Just hides the enemies' names. So you can have this on or off. So you can killers only, or you can hide everybody's names and whatnot. Just, I mean, if you're not a big time streamer and whatnot, you don't need to worry about this. It's mainly for the streamers, the YouTubers that have a big target audience, you know, and people hunt them and whatnot. So I always have that off because unfortunately I'm not a big YouTuber. Anonymous mode, so this one here, it's basically, once again, this is basically like streamer mode. This is actually pretty new. This has only came in I think this season. So it's basically, it shows it hides your name. So you might have noticed quite a few times when playing that it might say like Octane something, Watson something, and a few times I got confused because I thought, wow, does that mean they've actually called themselves that? No, all they've done is they've just enabled that so they're in anonymous mode. So once again, sort of thing that people do when they're like on their streamer modes and whatnot. But yeah, next up, usage sharing. So I mean, this basically is just a case of sharing your details with EA. It helps them improve the game. So, I mean, there's no reason not to have that on. If we go next on performance display. So this one, once again, is actually something brand new. So if you have a little look onto the top right. So if we have it off, computer and... Oh, it's not really actually that new. I don't know why I'm saying it's new. Basically, it turns on the ping. It's new, basically. It's newer for the consoles. We never used to have this, but they had quite a lot on the PC anyway. So turn this off. I mean, if you can have this on if you want, by the way, guys. It's down to preference. I don't actually care that much. Normally, my connection's alright, but if you have quite a dodgy connection, you might, or if you're a streamer, you might want to keep that on. Next up, club invites. Do what you want with that. I mean, it's a case of whether you have them pop up or you don't. I don't get many, so yeah, enabled. Colorblind mode. So basically, this is down to definitely preference. I did a video on this the other day. If you want to check that out, check it out on my channel. It's basically explaining the difference of like having it on colorblind mode. So I play it on Tritonopia, or you can have it off. So this is off, you know, you get the red reticle. It's pretty good. Like this, it's just down to personal preference again. So if we look at like colors of the armor. Okay, so they're quite, not dull, but they're not very bright. I turn it on to Tritonopia, they're a lot brighter, and I get a yellow reticle. So I prefer that a lot more. I've been really getting on with it, but once again, down to personal preference. Subtitles, have this off unless you need them on. Just brings up the little speeches, so if you were saying something in the game, it'll pop up with it. Subtitle size, very self-explanatory, shows you the size of the letters. Enable accessible chat features, have that off. I mean, you can have it on again. It's not something that you need on unless you actually need it. And then convert incoming voice to chat text. Don't worry about this as well. Turn this off. It's nothing to worry about. Next up, we got button layout. Now, this one is personal preference again, but I'll talk briefly through mine. Mine's a bit weird. You might think, what the hell? So a lot of people run different things. I ran default for a long time, but then I realized I could not crouch and shoot at the same time, like move and whatnot. So I was losing a lot of 1v1s. So I needed to change it. Now I looked around and whatnot. I didn't actually enjoy bumper jumper. Purely because of the fact that jump and stuff, the crouch is still in the same place and whatnot. So I ended up customizing it, and I have my customized settings. So my crouch is LB and my tactical ability is B. That's the only thing I've changed, and I really like it. It's my personal preference. Someone might turn around and say, yeah, actually, I prefer it way more like in a certain controller setting, but I personally have just customized it. So down to personal preference. If you want to be really good, you want to be playing claw, but I mean, I customized mine, man, and I really like it. Next up, stick layout. Keep this on default unless you want to change it. So you can have Southpaw, Legacy, and whatnot. They all explained on the side here, but it's the sort of thing that you wouldn't really change unless you were brought up playing it differently. So I feel like if you're playing this game, you will already know that you want to change your stick layout. So this isn't anything that I really need to explain too much. Interact, a reload button, tap to use to reload. I mean, you can have hold to reload and whatnot, hold to use, tap to reload and whatnot. I have it all tap to use and tap to reload. It makes it a lot easier to loot, a lot easier to reload. If you played PUBG, you might want to change things like hold to reload and things like that, but I definitely prefer it like that. I have my crouch on toggle. If you have it on hold, it basically means I would have to hold down my LB right now, stay crouched. If you have it on toggle, then you basically, you can just teabag. You just press it and it does it. Some people prefer it. I mean, a lot of people that have it on, say, for example, on their sticks, their crouch button, they prefer it like that so they can crouch up and down a lot easier. But I have it on a button, so it's a lot easier for me to do it on toggle. Down to personal preference though. Aim button, you can hold it or toggle. So that basically means when you go down sight, I would definitely have this on hold, because unless you play, once again, PUBG and whatnot, wouldn't change that. Trigger dead zones. As soon as you hit the trigger, it will shoot. If you have it higher, you need more pressure. So definitely have this on none. If you have this higher up, basically means you have to push down the whole stick. So if you could see my hands right now, I hit that so much longer. But if I have this on there, none, as soon as I put any pressure on that right trigger, it's going to shoot. So definitely have that on none, because you're not going to win your 1v1 fights if you don't. Menu cursor speed, it's in the name. It's basically how quick we can zoom through menus. So you want to have it roughly around middle. You can have it on higher. You definitely have to practice with it. Don't have it too low, because you will find it easier, harder to armor swap. Next up, we got down here then. Okay, so I play on advanced look controls. So I will run you through my advanced look controls. I have done a completely separate video on this before, but I will quickly run through it all with you. I mean, there's a few things on here that you can change on there. So movement dead zone. So this is the dead zone on your right stick. So it's basically, sorry, no, it's not. It's on your left stick. So it's basically have that on small because your left stick you don't use as much. Of course, you move it to run, but it's not as important as the right stick, which is obviously for the accuracy and whatnot. So keep that on there. Introvert look, once again, depends whether you prefer it on introverted or not. I have that off. And then vibrations, this is a very important one. Vibrations I have off. Now, I found that if I have this on, when I'm shooting, it's actually a lot harder to manage my muscle memory. My controls are going all over the shot. I definitely recommend you have it off. Now, the only struggle is the fact that when you're taking damage, you have to be very visual at looking at your bottom left-hand corner to see the damage that you have taken. If you're not very good at that type of thing, then keep your vibrations on, but you do get the hang of it, and it is a lot easier to keep hold of the fact that, yes, that is my vibrations, yes, because it just makes it so much easier to be able to shoot someone in a 1v1 without having that vibration really putting you off and making you miss your shots. So definitely keep that off. Right, advanced look controls. I recommend everybody should be using these. If you don't have the time to play with the settings, then of course, yeah, don't worry about it. But I will go through these as best and as quickly as I possibly can. So, dead zone. Okay, so dead zone, it controls stick drift. So basically, kind of what we just had a second ago. So if I'm looking around with my right-hand stick, I obviously have some stick drift. So if I was to turn this all the way off, it would be a case of my stick would drift all over. So if I just remember how many I've got on, so 1, 2, 3. So if I turn it off, you see my stick starts to drift. Whack a bit of stick drift on it. 1, 2, 3. We're sorted. Okay, so that depends how old your controller is. If you've got, say, a new controller, you probably won't have to worry about it as much. Outer threshold is very similar to the response curve. As you can see, they don't even recommend much, so I've turned it off completely. I do not use this at all. Haven't noticed any difference or improvement or whatnot, so I really wouldn't worry about this. Not many people actually understand it, including myself, so I have it off. Response curve. Now, response curve, I'm going to give you the exact definition of this one. So the response curve is the speed at which the game registers movement of your reticle in response to when you move the thumbstick and how long you keep it in that position. Higher feels dull, lower can feel twitchy. So as it's explained, if you have it higher, then it's going to be a case it does feel quite dull, it feels quite slow. And if you have it lower, then it's going to feel quite twitchy. Now, I will go through how many I've got. So I have it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have it 5, so roughly around about a middle. I find this works for me. You can obviously have a little feel of it yourself, see how you get on with it, but it works well for me. Next up, we got per optic settings. Now, I have this off because I've never really felt the need to change it. You can change all your optic settings to how you want, so add 1, 1, 1, 1 or whatnot, or you can just have it off. It all depends on what you prefer. If you like to say have your sniper scope slightly quicker or slower, it could be worth fiddling on that, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. Yawn speed. Yawn speed, simple. It is how quick you move left and right. So how quickly you move left and right. Now I will go through how many clicks I've got. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so 21 all the way over to basically, I prefer that. It makes it a lot easier for me to look left and right, and I can keep track of my enemies that I'm trying to follow. Next up, we got pitch speed. Pitch speed is how quick you look left, up and down. So I will go once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so basically in line with the speed or the recommended. Next up, we got turning extra yawn. So this one, it helps you better if you're doing things like 360 and whatnot. Obviously, I'm not trying to be a trick shotter or anything like that, so I have it actually lowered down. So if I was to once again get you the recommended setting that I have, here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Next up, turning extra pitch. It's very similar to the extra. Basically means when you look up to full extent, you'll do it quicker. You do not need to change this. Keep this the same. I do not have it any higher or lower. Turning ramp up time. So turning up ramp up time is when you have the sticks to the edge, how quickly it will take to get to full speed. So once again, so it's basically when if I put all the pressure to the far right, it's how quickly I'll turn. So if once again I have a little look, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 up from the bottom. And then the last one we got turning ramp up delay. So for this one, it is when the stick is at the edges, how much delay until the extra yawn or pitch is applied. So I do not have any delay. I don't know why you would need delay, but you can add delay on it. So for example, if you were to flick all the way to the edge, there'll be a slight delay before it kicks in. Next up, ADS yawn speed. So here we go. So if we go ADS yawn speed, how quickly you look left and right whilst aiming. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. Pretty certain I missed one there. There we go. Next up, ADS pitch speed. How quickly you look up and down whilst aiming. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9. If you say, once again, this is all down to personal preference. If you do these settings, then you go, actually, I'd like something slightly different. That's why I'm explaining to you what they do. Then definitely change them to your personal preference. ADS, yawn speed. So basically, I also didn't even explain that this is when you're looking down the scope, by the way, guys. ADS stands for looking down the scope. So the next one is, turning extra yawn. This one, it helps you turn all the way around. So once again, when you're doing your 180s and whatnot, but when you're looking down your sight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ADS, basically, when we're looking down the scope, how quickly we look up if we're looking up to the full extent. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry about that, before I was rudely cut off. So the ADS turning ramp up time. So I'll explain it one more time. It's when the stick is at the edges, how quickly you get to full speed. So when you're looking down your scope, how quickly you get to it. So you need minus 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then the last one, looking down the scope, aiming down sight, ramp up delay. This is when the stick is at the edges when you are aiming, how long it takes before extra yawn or pitch is applied. Now, we've turned it down a little bit. Now, they do recommend you have some of this on, but I have actually turned it down. So we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then last but not least, target compensation. This is basically the aim assist. Do not turn this off. The whole advantage of being a controller player is we get more aim assist. If you turn this off, very silly. Keep it on. And melee target compensation, again, keep it on. It is our aim assist for melee. Come back. Then we're going to go across. Now, video, brightness. It's all down to personal preference. I have that just above, so slightly higher, just because that way I feel like I can see a little bit better. It's just down to whatever you prefer. depending on the type of scenario you're in for your room and whatnot. Field of view, I think this depends on your TV size. I always used to play on about 100, and then I did upgrade and I got a bigger TV, so I have turned up my field of view, because there's no point on a bigger monitor having a small sight. I might as well use it to my full extent, bring it as high as possible. So yeah, I have that on 110, so I can see literally everything. Sprint view shake, so when I'm sprinting, the screen doesn't shake. So yeah, it's kind of really simple. That's why you would not have that on. Have that on minimal. And then audio ones, master volume 100%, sound effects volume 100%. Keep all of these with dialogue high 100%. Music, I've turned that down just because I was recording. Lobby music, you can either have that all the way on or off. I've turned it all the way off because it was a bit annoying. Disable voice chat, you can turn this on, because sometimes some people do put some swear words and stuff into the voice chat, so it might be worth actually turning that on if you're a little bit younger, so then you don't have to worry about it. And then if you've got inconvert voice chat to incoming voice to text chat, so if you have that on, when someone does a voice, it'll pop up as a chat, but I keep that off as well. That is absolutely everything. I really hope that helps. I can't get any more into detail on that. I can't believe I've been speaking for almost half an hour recording this video. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button, comment down below, and please subscribe, your notifications on. If you want me to cover anything, ask any questions or anything like that, whack them down in the comments. But yeah, apart from that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.